What's going on, everyone? Upgraded the mic so that there's no more scratchiness, no more echoing, so hopefully these videos from this point forward in our new gym sound much more clear and you can hear everything I'm trying to educate you guys on. But by popular request, a lot of people have been asking for a tutorial on the Tirapilon, which is known as the twisting strike. So I first introduced this through a variation of an angle 1. Now there are different ways you can use the Tirapilon, and I'm actually quite surprised I've never done a video on it through all the course of my YouTube channel, but here it is, guys. So I have my stick. I'm going to assume a right lead, so that's just putting my right foot in front. Safety hand is up. Here's my starting position. So let's start with that angle 1. And again, if you guys are new to Filipino martial arts, angle 1 is a slash or an angle that is going diagonal from top right down to bottom left. Okay, so if you were to draw a box in front of you, we're going to be cutting that from top right down to bottom left. Now about halfway through, we're going to create the whipping or witik motion. And the way that I do that is I'm going to utilize my wrist flexors. And it's very important that before you guys start practicing your Tirapilon, you also get very familiar with utilizing and activating the flexors themselves. And sometimes that could be simple as just warming it up, twisting the stick back and forth, doing other techniques like abanico, for example, and really not just relying on your shoulders and hips, which is a very basic mechanic, still vital, but trying to get a little bit more specific, and now we're going to get a little bit more of the wrist flexors in action. So about halfway through, I'm going to start to create a circle. I'm going to point it to the left, come around to the right, and then drive through all the way down to my closed position, completing that angle 1. So if we look at that again, this is what we call a forehand Tirapilon, where I take the angle 1 template, wrap it around, and swing. Now there are 2 to 3 main ways that we can illustrate this Tirapilon, depending on how you want to apply it. Now I don't have a partner today to show you guys how to apply it, but as you practice and get familiar with the technique itself, here are some of the variations of a Tirapilon. I'll do it from a side angle so you guys can see a little clearer. The first way is just to keep it one neutral speed. So as we're introducing the witik motion, we want to maintain the natural angle 1 flow, which is from start to finish. Okay? So when I do that, you're going to see that my stick is going to go nice and fluid all the way through. If I add a little bit more power, and you can see it's very, very similar to an angle 1. And this is a great way to introduce the Tirapilon to you. It's a great way to get your wrist flexors started and warmed up. And as you guys are doing your own Sinawali or Karenza or whatever you guys describe your kind of free flow, it's a great way to add it in without making you think too hard or cause your body to stutter if you're not used to it. Now the second way we do that is we make that witik motion a lot bigger. So we really emphasize the twisting portion of it. So now when I do this angle 1, I'm really going to whip it around. See, there's a little pause there, and then finish down. So it's going to go swoop, swoop. Okay, so we're going to go. And that just isolates that wrist flexor motion a little bit more and really emphasizes me being able to twist it around with my wrist and guide it through with my shoulder and hips separately. Okay? When you kind of play with the two, you can kind of have a big whip up here and then a nice smooth cut down here. Or you can start nice and smooth up here and finish with a big whip down there. So that's kind of like the 2.5 third variation, if you will, when you combine those 2 main ones together. Right, so let's break it down real quick. Nice and smooth for variation number 1. 2 big whips, variation number 2. Mix and match here, smooth, whip, whip, smooth. All right, so that is essentially the core of a Tirapilon. When I teach my students under Anastacio, I teach them 3 main ones. So you have your forehand Tirapilon, which is your angle 1, which of course means that you're going to have a backhand Tirapilon, which is based off your angle 2. So again, if we look at that big square, angle 2 is cutting down from top left down to bottom right. The way that I'm going to do the witik motion here is I'm going to do an opposite direction circle. Now, the best way to break this down for you guys, if you guys know how to twirl your stick, you're essentially going to do that twirl, and the more comfortable you get with it, the more witik you can add to it. But the motion itself, I start from my closed position here, start my angle 2, about halfway, here comes a circle, roll it through my wrist, and finish down. Now, normally, when I just do my 10 basic strikes without too much power, my angle 2 will finish bottom right. So in essence, is what we call an open position. To truly utilize a Tirapilon, and I emphasize that whipping power, it's very hard to stabilize down here when I'm done, right? So imagine getting all that whip in here and having to stop it very awkwardly at the bottom right. So what we're going to do is we're going to emphasize a more formal open position where the stick's going to continue swinging up to your right shoulder. So we have good weapon retention. Safety hand is in front, and the weight is now loaded in my right hip. Okay? So when I do it now, angle 2, twirl all the way up to my shoulder. Now let's take it from the side. Okay? So we're in our closed position. We have angle 2, twist, and here. Let's add a little bit more power. Okay? And the same thing, you can do the variations. You can keep it nice and smooth. You can have 2 big whips. And then you can mix and match, if you will, however you so please. Just make sure that we have good weapon retention there, because as we do a Tirapilon, and in fact, when we do any sort of technique, we want to make sure that we can follow up and not just have that one technique. Even though there's 2 strikes in that motion, I want to be able to deliver, if needed, 3, 4, 5, 6 different strikes from different ranges and different levels. Okay, so the final one I'm going to share with you guys today in this video is going to be a forehand, so that's going to be on my right side, and it's going to be a reverse Tirapilon. So we're basing this off of an angle 5 in our 10 basic strikes. If I roll that real quick, you have your 1, you have your 2. Number 5 is our reverse slash, so we're starting from the bottom right this time. We're going up to the top left, and then we rest that in our closed position. So when I do that reverse Tirapilon, I start down here, palm is up, I'm going up, same kind of twist as our forehand Tirapilon coming from the top, but now I'm going up, really uppercut that, and as I finish, I almost scoop it into my closed position. So I'm not going to go nice and long with the slash and rest it here. Once I get that good with tick whip here, boom, it almost flicks up like an abanico into my closed position. Okay? Side angle. Palm is up. 1, twist, 2. Okay? Nice and smooth. 2 big whips. Right? So you have our standard forehand Tirapilon, which is based off the angle 1. You have your backhand Tirapilon, which is based off the angle 2. And then we have our reverse Tirapilon from angle number 5. If you base that off of the 1 and 2, you might think, well, why don't we just do an angle 6 as well? As I was kind of devising this, angle 6 going up really feels kind of awkward. I feel like the stick's going to hit my face. I don't really feel like I have much power going up. That's personally my preference. If you guys figure out how to use a Tirapilon in any other angle, let me know. Let's share some ideas here. But I'm going to finish this video by giving you a quick little drill to have you practice all 3 of those so that you're not just repping it out one by one by one. Okay, so we start in the closed position. I'm going to do it nice and smooth for you guys. We have our backhand Tirapilon. We have our reverse Tirapilon. Backhand again. Watch that weapon retention. Forehand Tirapilon. Okay, so if I count that in angles, we're going angle 2, angle 5, angle 2 again, angle 1. And that should loop us back to 2, to 5, 2, 1. 2, 5, 2, 1. All right, so that is the Tirapilon, aka the twisting strike that is brought from our main system, which is bias tres manos, but we do carry it forward in Anastacio. I hope you guys enjoyed this breakdown. I hope you guys learned a little bit about the Tirapilon. Let me know in the comments below what technique you want me to break down next. If there is anything with stick, double stick, empty hand even, a little bit of knife, you let me know. Let's keep this channel growing. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you're new, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, follow me on Instagram, and stay tuned for the next video.